All right, Gypsy. Gypsy, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
Goshen, Mississippi, which is the coast of Mississippi.
Tell me about your family.
Um, my mom got pregnant with me when she was 14, and then she had me when she was 15. Um, I had a godmother at the time. She was the same age as my mom. She was 15. And she ended up babysitting me when I was like 2 months old. And it just, from there on, my mom slowly started leaving me with her more and more and not coming back. Um, my godmother ended up getting custody of me when I was 10, 9 or 10. But my godmother was an addict. She was a crackhead. She did heroin, pain pills, anything you can think of. But my mom, my biological mom, she wasn't any better. Um, before she got custody of me, my godmother, my mom would pop up back in my life like twice a year. And every time she would come and get me, like I would be kicking and screaming and hollering. And my godmother, like when I was with her, we lived in a nice house. I had everything I wanted. And then I would go back to my mom's and I'd be in the hood. Um, like my mom, I just hated being at her house. I remember when I was like 7 years old, we lived in some hood apartments, and it was me, my two younger brothers, and my little sister. My little sister was a baby at the time, and my mom would sleep all day long. She would black out the entire house. She wouldn't wake up till nighttime. My little sister would be in her crib screaming and crying with rashes all over her body from sitting in her pee all day. Um, I would I would have to like, you know how like the pantry and the kitchens, they have like shelves that are like all the way up to the ceiling. I'd have to like climb them and see what we had to eat like raw ramen noodles and shit. Um, and then my godmother would come and get me and save the day, but she would always be fucked up. So I will say this, even though she was fucked up all the time, I still looked at her like she was my guardian angel. Like, but I would walk in sometimes in the bathroom and she would be passed out on the toilet from 12 a.m. till 6 a.m. when I had to get up for school the next day. Like, so it was kind of, I mean, it wasn't the best environment with either, but my God, if it wasn't for my godmother, I honestly believe I wouldn't be alive. So,
It's a rough childhood.
yeah.
How far did you go in school?
Huh?
How far did you go in school?
I graduated high school.
You did.
Yeah. Yep.
And what kind of work have you done since then?
Um, when I graduated, I ended up marrying my boyfriend at the time, and we had a baby. And I had like little jobs here and there, like serving. I worked at a bank for like a month. Um, Other than that, I haven't really had a real job besides stripping.
You've been doing that for how long?
I'm 26 now. I've been stripping since I was 20. At this point, that's really all I know.
And drugs have been a part of your life as well, or no?
Yeah. And it's crazy to me because you would think me growing up seeing, like, even my biological mom, she did drugs too. She claims that she slept all day because she had mono, but, like, bitch, I'm not dumb. She was doing coke and all that shit, drinking all the time. But you would think me seeing my godmother fucked up all the time, I always told myself, I'll never smoke a cigarette. I'll never touch drugs. I'll never do this. And then when I was like 14, my biological mom, I had the flu, and she gave me some Lortabs, and I ended up really, really liking them. And then when I left on my own at about 17, I started getting Lortabs off the street, but it wasn't like an addiction at that point. It was just every now and then. And then me and my husband started taking them religiously, and he always cheated on me. I can't even count on my hands and toes how many times he cheated on me. But he would put his hands on me, and I ended up leaving him. And when I left him, he ended up putting me in the hospital, but I had nowhere to go when I left him because I didn't have anybody. My godmother was in jail. Like my whole life, she'd be in and out of rehabs, prison. My mom, I never fucking had her. My siblings, we don't have the same dad, none of us, there's 4 of us. Their grandparents and dad raised them. So we weren't really close growing up either. But when I left my husband, I ended up getting in some trouble. I caught an armed robbery charge. I ended up homeless, living out my car at the time. And then one of my friends told me that if I wanted to make a few extra dollars, I could come strip. And that honestly, I know people are gonna say I'm crazy, but that honestly saved my life. I know I would probably be dead if it wasn't for stripping. But with stripping came money, and with money came more drugs. I could afford it. So the Percocets and Lortabs and pain pills turned into heroin. And then I stayed on heroin for a couple years.
And you were able to get off them, or are you still on them?
No, so when I left my ex-husband, I ended up literally like 2 days later. Mind you, I'd been with my ex-husband for like 5 years. He was all I knew at the time. I ended up meeting this guy that was younger than me, and I got with him literally like a week after I left my husband. And me and him ended up getting in trouble together, doing all that dumb shit. But he's the one that made me get off heroin. Because after we got in trouble, he went to prison. And then when he got out, he got bonded out after like a year and a half. And he's the one that made me get off of it. He didn't really give me a choice. So, yeah.
It's a nice favor of him to do. I'm sure it sucked, but it was...
I mean, yeah, it was nice, but he still is the reason I have a fucking felony right now, so...
And do you have contact with your family still? Anyone? Is your mom still around?
My godmother, I call her my mom. I call my real mom my bio mom, or egg donor. But my godmother, she got out of rehab 3 years ago, and this is the first time in her life that she's been clean for years. She's been to about 15 rehabs, but this is the first time that she's really got her shit together. So me and her, we're in contact. We have a good relationship. I love her. But my real mom, she blocked me on everything. She just now reached out to me about 2 months ago on Facebook, and we talk, but it's like forced, you know what I mean? It's not genuine. Like, I feel, even though I have my godmother, I love her to death, and I do consider her my mom. But I just have so much resentment towards my mom. I don't know. I don't think it'll ever be the same. Which is crazy for me because even though my godmother wasn't the best parent, my mom, like, when I think of my mom, I think of literally fucking misery. Because you gotta think, I'm in 2nd grade and she's got boyfriend after boyfriend beating her ass, beating my siblings' ass, my brothers. And she let this happen. It would be 2 a.m. on a school night. I'm in 3rd, 4th grade. It'd be 2 a.m. on a school night. I can hear him beating her ass in the next room. I run to the living room. My brother's already in the living room because he's scared, crying. And him and my mom come out the room and he's choking her, slamming her against the wall. There's blood trailing behind her. She's telling us to get in the car. We get in the car, he starts running out the door, jumps on the hood. We're driving down the road with him on the fucking hood. I'm like trying to console my little brother, even though I'm just as fucking scared. And then we end up going to stay with like a relative for the night. Like, that was all the time. Anytime I was with my mom, it was a new boyfriend, but same shit. They'd end up fighting, he's beating her ass, he's hitting all of us, and it's just the same old shit. My mom has never changed. She's got a man now that takes care of her and he's got money, but she's still the same person. I mean, I don't think she'll ever change.
Has your life had any of the same chaos and drama?
Not at the moment. I'm smiling, but I'm serious. I don't have any drama right now. But, I mean, I still dance and stuff. I mean, that's chaos on its own, but...
Yes, it is. Tell me about working in a strip club. You work in what part of the country?
I dance in Florida. I started out in New Orleans, Louisiana. I got kicked out from some of the strip clubs in New Orleans. And
what do you get kicked out for?
Just dumb shit, like fighting with guests or fighting with other strippers, just literally dumb shit. Now I work in Florida. I actually like dancing. I know a lot of girls will say, oh, I wish I could stop, and I just can't. I like dancing. I don't feel the need to stop at the moment.
There's a lot of drugs in the club.
Oh, yeah.
That's not tempting for you?
No, because the majority of drugs in the club is cocaine, and I don't like uppers, so not really tempting for me.
And this is a topless club or nude?
I work at multiple. Some of them are nude, but majority of them are just topless.
What's the difference between the two?
Topless is pretty much how it sounds. You can only take your top off.
No, I know that difference. I'm saying in terms of the clientele.
Oh.
I
know what you mean, like the atmosphere.
The atmosphere of the two different clubs.
I would say at the topless, there's a lot more, how do I explain, more upscale gentlemen, I guess you could say, because like at the nude, you can tell that's literally just what they're there for, just to see a girl busted open on stage. You know what I mean? Like, not spending any fucking money. They're just there to fucking look, get some drinks and go. But at the top list, like they actually want to get rooms with you, VIPs, get lap dances and stuff, because it's more exciting when you have more on, you know what I mean? And they feel like, I don't know how to explain it. Like they just feel like, oh, I want to see more of her. So
there's opportunities to make more money in the back rooms and side things.
For sure.
Is that something you partake in?
No, I don't do extras, but I don't do extras at the strip club. I'll get regulars, and like if I'm ever like in a pickle outside the club or something and I need money, I'll like text them and ask them to send me money, or I'll send them like nudes or something that they can buy, so I'm not just getting money for free, you know what I mean? But when I was 17, I'm not going to say her name, but this girl that I had met at the time, she was 21. She kind of introduced me to tricks. I don't know if you know what tricks are. Well, of course you know what tricks are. But she introduced me to like what tricks were. And I would like go to, like say if there was like an event in town or something, I would like recruit girls for her and like make it seem like it was this lavish lifestyle. Like, oh yeah, we're getting all this money and da 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 da. Like you can make this much and you'll have this and cars and da da. I'm fucking 17. I didn't even have that shit. So she would like get men off Backpage. Pretty much we were setting them up and robbing them. Like she would set up an appointment, I guess you could call it, at a hotel with a man. He would buy the hotel, and then I would go in there and she would give me a purse, and I would put just like random shit in the purse. And once I got up there, I would get the money from him, and I would be like, oh, here, hold my stuff real quick. My sister's in the car. She needs gas money. And then I just leave my fucking purse there and rob his ass and leave, jump in the car. We did that all the time. That was like my little introduction to, I guess, escorting.
So it's not really escorting, it's more
robbing.
It's robbing.
But we had girls that worked with us that were actually escorting. I guess you could say we were pimping them out.
Right. Has working in clubs like this changed the way you see men?
Absolutely.
A lot of these guys are married?
Hell yeah, they're all fucking married.
Or girlfriends or whatever.
I honestly, okay, like high profile men fucking disgust me now, because I've had NFL players, mayors, senators, rappers, country music artists, all kinds of people that you would think would never do this type of shit come in the club and like ask me to fucking piss in their mouth or squeeze out my breast milk for $500 so they can drink it, or shit on them, like just the craziest shit. But it's like, at the end of the day, like, you have a whole fucking family. Like, they even talk about their family. They'll be like, oh, I have to go to my son's soccer game tomorrow because I coach. Like, what the fuck are you doing in here? So yeah, I definitely changed my view on men. At this point, I feel like the men that people think are, how do I explain this? Like, just regular ass guys. That's what I love. Just a regular ass boring man.
I should interject here. Just to vouch for some men. Not all men are like that.
You're right. You're right. But
for the women that are watching this and losing hope.
Right.
There are guys that are straight arrows.
There's men who are, more high profile, that they're not all like that. But I'm saying, for the most part, at the strip club, yes.
Yeah, if they're walking into a strip club.
Right. If they're walking in there, period, girl, something's wrong. Mm-hmm.
And you're surrounded by girls that are on drugs. What have you seen with just the club in general with the drug problem?
Oh,
What percentage of the girls are using?
okay, say on an average night, I work with about 35 girls.
35 girls at one club?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a big club. I would say about 20 of them do cocaine, and they all just go in the bathroom. They'll say they need a bathroom break. They don't do anything in the dressing room because there's cameras. But yeah, if you see a stripper heading to the bathroom every hour, that's why.
Tell me about karma. You believe in karma?
Yes, absolutely.
How does karma play out in a stripper's life?
I don't want to say like a stripper's life, but just anybody in general. Like, I know I've done some really fucked up shit, and it's definitely come back to haunt me. If you want to take it there and say strippers in general, like, say a man comes in and you get a VIP with him and he's drunk, and I mean, this happens all the time. They'll accidentally leave their wallet on the couch or under the couch or something and forget about it and walk out. Well, or you'll see it on the floor and kick it under the couch so he just forgets. And then you end up taking his wallet and then everything that's in his wallet, which most of the time is a lot of fucking money. I feel like that type of karma definitely affects your job, because you'll come back when you actually need money and you're starving and you don't make shit that night. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And then you just sit there like, damn, all those times that I did that to that man and this man and this man when I really didn't fucking need to, and now look at me. But yeah, just in general, I've done so much shitty things to people, and I know it's come back to haunt me.
Do you justify it by saying that these guys deserve it for
I used to.
being there doing that?
I used to. But at the end of the day, we're all human and we all do shit that's fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, it might be fucked up that they have families and come to the strip club and do all that, but they might think I do something outside of the strip club that's fucked up. You know what I mean? I mean, we're all human. We all do dumb shit. It's just different, you know?
Is this a lonely lifestyle for you?
Yeah.
Ironically.
You would think not, because I have men constantly trying to talk to me and save me, but yeah, and it gets depressing, very depressing.
You think you're addicted to the fast money?
Yeah.
You couldn't do another job, could you?
I've tried. I actually do makeup on the side. I'm a makeup artist on the side, but the thought of getting a fucking check every 2 weeks and having to wait 2 weeks for something I can make in one fucking night, like, literally disgusts me. No, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. And at this point, look at me. I have fucking face tattoos. I have a felony, a serious felony at that. I can't even own a fucking gun. What the fuck am I gonna do? I can't even get a job at a fucking convenience store. They're scared I'm gonna fucking rob the place. Like, what am I gonna do? So, yeah. And I hate when people are like, well, you're not gonna be this pretty forever. Or you're not. Bitch, I work with fucking 50-year-olds. Like, what are you talking about? That's what Botox is for.
If you had your life to live all over again, what would you have done differently?
Jesus. I wouldn't have married my ex-husband. Probably would have stayed in school, like college. I can't say I wouldn't have danced. I can't say that.
Sounds like dancing is not necessarily a big regret for you. It seems like you're pretty comfortable with that decision.
Yeah. Yep. I have people all the time lecturing me.
It's good money?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't. So.
But you have your own apartment, you have a car, stuff like that. Yeah. Not all sex workers can say that.
Right. Now, when I was on heroin, I mean, I would get a car and then sell everything I fucking had if I wasn't making money at the club, and then I wouldn't have shit. I'd be homeless, sleeping in fucking casino garages, like sleeping on the beach at night because I live on the coast. Sleeping on the beach, couch hopping, and then I'd get all this money and go buy a car, and just, it was like a cycle.
Yeah, drugs change everything.
Absolutely. And you know, this is gonna sound, I'm not trying to say this in like, I'm not saying this as in everybody else's experience doesn't matter, but I will say most sex workers that I've met have had shit done to them as children, as have I. When I was 7 years old, I was molested, but I don't know why. I've questioned this a million times. I feel like something is seriously wrong with me. I don't know if I'm like a psychopath or what, but that, I don't even think about that. That, like, I can't sit here and like give a sob story about that and say, oh, I was molested when I was 7 and it affected me like this. It doesn't even cross my mind.
This is just who you are.
This is literally just who I am. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a sex worker and I'm addicted to this and this and this because I was touched when I was little and I went through this. Like, this. At this point, I just feel like it's just who I am.
You don't feel like you have a victim mentality?
At all. Everything that's happened to me, I know it's happened because I chose to do that. I fucked up.
And you take responsibility for everything that's
absolutely
going on in your life.
Yep.
That's great. What's your biggest regret?
Ever.
Have you been in love before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in love right now.
Oh, that's good.
Like real love. The first time I've experienced real love.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Someone who hasn't like put their hands on me or anything.
What's your biggest regret?
Probably asking my druggy boyfriend years ago to stick a needle in my arm. It's probably my biggest regret because now that I'm aware I'm an addict, I notice my addict behavior in everything.
Have you transferred it to other parts of your life?
Yeah.
Instead of heroin, it's something else?
Just like
shopping, gambling.
Yeah, like the dumbest shit. Like sometimes it'll be food, and then it'll be a certain type of food, and then it'll be a drink, and then it'll be vapes, and then, you know what I mean? It's like I'm never just satisfied with anything. I hate that.
And that might stem from what happened to you when you were 7 years old, but you don't know it because it's all you've known since 7 years old.
Right. And then like the drugs too. Like I can remember when I was a kid, I would find like pins, like the body of a pin, like the end of it would be taken out so it would be hollowed out, and my godmother would use that for a crack pipe. And I remember I would open like kitchen drawers and I'd find like burnt spoons, or like the bathroom drawers, there'd be burnt spoons, and she'd be asleep. And we lived with my grandpa at the time. And I remember like I didn't want her to get in trouble. Even as a kid, I feel like I've never been a child. I've always had an adult mentality, because even when I was a kid, I did adult things. I never wanted to be with kids. I always wanted to be with grown-ups, which I was. I would find like her paraphernalia and I would hide it because I didn't want her to get in trouble. Like, she would ask me to pee in cups for her all the time. And I knew what it was for. I wasn't dumb. I was 7 years old. I knew exactly what I was doing. And I did it for her because I never wanted her to get in trouble. Or we'd be going down the highway and she'd be falling asleep. And we'd be swerving all over the highway. And I knew if we were to get pulled over, she was going to go to jail. So I would make her pull over and I would start driving at 9 years old. So drugs have really been literally a part of my life since I can remember. And it hasn't been like serious to me. I don't know if it's like a defense mechanism or what, but like I feel like I just don't let things affect me like other people say they're affected by it. You know what I mean? Like I see all these other stories and they're like, oh, when I was a kid, this happened and this happened, and that's why I feel like I am the way I am now. But like, I don't feel like that. I don't know if I'm like a narcissist or.
Oh, you're resilient.
I don't know.
You don't seem unhappy. How would you describe yourself emotionally? You get depressed or angry or anxious?
I'm not depressed to where I'm suicidal, but I'm definitely depressed. I feel like I'm more angry than I am depressed. This is like my first time I've ever talked about some of this stuff. Thank you. And there's way more like in between all this that I haven't discussed. But I definitely bottle stuff up. I'm not the type of person that just talks about things. I don't like to talk about things. It makes me feel really awkward. And showing emotion makes me feel awkward.
Well, you grew up in an environment that was pretty chaotic.
Yeah. Like even my mom, like she'll joke around, my real mom. She used to joke around and be like, oh yeah, you're like my mom. We're like sisters. And that used to make me so mad because like, why are you joking about, like, that's not funny. Like, I feel like I've had to be everybody's mom my whole life, even as a kid. Like, sometimes, I know I'm grown, but sometimes, like, I just want, like, I just want to be, like, a kid for, like, 2 seconds, you know? Like, a real kid.
You never got a chance to.
But, yeah. So. And I definitely, I can admit that I lash out on people that are, like, closest to me when I shouldn't. Like, they'll do one little thing, you know what I mean? And it'll just set me off.
Do you have friends?
That's a very, let's just say I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of real friends. People say they're my friend, but I don't have a lot of real friends. Very few. So.
Gypsy, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
If I could say one thing to everybody, it is you never know what somebody's going through. Just always be kind. Always. Because there was points in my life, like even as a child, where I would just sit there and pray to God to just let me die because I didn't want to live anymore. And nobody knew that. Nobody. So I don't care if somebody's smiling, if they're happy all the time, if they're always laughing, joking around. Just always be kind. It's definitely the best piece of advice.
That's great. All right, Gypsy, thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.